Hello everyone, I'm Epic Welcome back to another video. Now in today's video, I'm going to be starting a new series on my channel. Now this is going to be a Pokemon VGC podcast series in which I talk about certain things in Pokemon VGC. It could be anywhere from, specific Pokemon, talking about how they're good, specific tournaments, like talking about a regional and saying kind of what went down at the regional and kind of what happened at the regional, just my thoughts on a certain subject or a certain Pokemon or just a broader topic like today. So I'm going to start off with episode 1. I'm going over the championship point system and tournaments. But before we get into it, let me know what you guys think in the comments below of like a Pokemon podcast series in which I kind of go over a lot of topics, relating and regarding to Pokemon VGC. And, don't forget to smash the like button down below and subscribe if you are really excited for this new series. So, I really kind of want to dig deep into the champion point system and tournaments today, or just kind of give a general overview to people. So, the Pokemon VGC 2019 series has been around for quite a while now. I mean, it came out in technically August, but September. So September, it's been a while. It's been definitely a while. We're in February now, and so it's been around for quite a while. So the meta has developed, but and we knew actually the Pokemon did not come out with the amount of points you need to qualify until actually quite later. So first things first, we're gonna kind of head on to our first topic, which is championship points. And I kind of want to talk about the how many points specific areas need in order for players need to qualify for Worlds. So for this is going to be I'm going to do it by not continents but zones, like the Oceanic zone, European, and like stuff like that, and by the 3 divisions. So of course for my zone, which would be the U.S. and Canada, Masters need 400 championship points to qualify. Seniors need 250 points to qualify, and juniors need 200. Now, if we look at the Europe qualification code, juniors need 200, seniors need 250, which is pretty standard, same thing, but masters need 300, which is very interesting. And if we look at the Latin America, juniors need 200, seniors need 250, and masters need 400. But if we look at the Oceanic qualification, the juniors need 200 championship points, seniors need 200, and masters need 300. So that's a bit interesting. And when you go to South Africa, you have the juniors need 100, the seniors need 150, and the masters need 200. So I think it's important to note that, throughout this course, people have been accumulating championship points and have been qualifying for Worlds. I think it's about the same as it was last year. Some zones might have bumped up theirs a little bit. I think Europe did. I could be wrong though, but I think it's about the same. But I think what's interesting is that in 2016, I believe that Masters, to get to Worlds, you had to have 500 championship points, so they knocked it down 100. Now I know it's like, well, there was a couple of years since then, but it's the same format, so I don't know. It kind of appeared to me that it would kind of be that way. So the championship points there they are for the specific zones in the specific places and whatnot, and that's what you need to qualify. That's qualifying for day 1. If you want to qualify for day 2, you would qualifying for day 2 meant that you would have to gotten top 4 in the previous year or in the previous World Championship. So for Nashville, let's say you made top 4 for seniors or for Masters VGC. Well, you're automatically entered for day 2. Now, just because you're automatically entered for day 2 doesn't mean you should just sit back and relax. Bit of a personal opinion though. But yeah, that's the only way you can be qualified for day 2. But people do get travel awards based upon how they are ranked. So like the top, I think 8 players will get looked at between each international, And so, yeah, the top 8 players or top 10 or something, they get travel awards. So they get cash leading up to Pokemon or leading up to Worlds that'll help pay for their travel because they're, you know, putting effort and putting time into the game, and being one of the best. So they receive cash to travel to travel to Worlds throughout the seasons. Um, so that's like an incentive to become one of the best. So now we're going to be kind of looking at the tournaments and you know, how you would be getting your championship points. Well, I think an important thing for this year is that it's broken up into 3 sections, 3 seasons. So the Sun Series, which is over now, was from September to January, and now we're on the Moon Series. The Moon Series goes from, I believe, February to April, I believe, or February to late April, yeah. And then the Ultra Series is from May, or from really late April all the way up to Worlds. And so if you break it down, um, there's a thing at tournaments, like let's say a mid-season showdown or a premier or a regional. There's like a best finish limit. So let's say you go to a premier, which is the smallest tournament, and you get first place. And then you go to it next week and you get another first place, and then next week you place first again. Well, Pokemon will only record the best two finish limit for those games. So if you would, yeah, in that season, so you would have gained 90 championship points because premieres, if you get first, are worth 30. But now you only get 60, so it's kind of to balance it out so you don't go like crazy on it. But there are a best two series, so that means next season or the next series, let's say you placed first at 2 premieres in the Sun season, and then the Moon season you went and you placed first at 2 premieres. Well, that means you get, if I can do math, 120 championship points from those 2 seasons. But it's a cap of a best finish limit of 2 per series. So championship points, ideally, most people are going to be getting their championship points through regionals, but normally getting them at smaller tournaments along the way and accumulating them up slowly. Although you have some players that do well at these tournaments, like get top 8, top 16 at a regional, top 4, and end up getting a lot of championship points, therefore boosting them in the rankings and boosting them and able to be qualified for Worlds. See, I got top 4. I got fourth at Philadelphia, so the Philly regional. So that really propelled me in the rankings. So we're gonna be going over how people are gonna be getting their points and just kind of the tournaments and breaking them up, kind of going from the bottom to the top and kind of breaking down tournaments. Now I know this video is going to be a bit more basic, but I really just kind of want to start off this way, and I'm really having this be a structured video. Like, I wrote everything down that I wanted to say, so I feel like as time goes on, these videos are going to get more loose and kind of more in-depth. I know it doesn't really correlate well with one another, but I feel like it'll make sense because once you write something down, you tend to stick to that, and I really want to kind of branch away from just what's on the script, you know what I mean? Because I'm going to try to incorporate and talk about some other things other than just what's on here, because if not, it might get a little bit boring, like personal premiere experience or whatnot. But anyways, we're just going to stick to the script for now. So we're going to be talking about the tournaments, how much championship points you earn, and, kind of, the placings and whatnot of them. So premieres are going to be your smallest, or first off, the smallest Pokemon VGC tournament is a premiere. Those are going to be your smallest tournaments, and there's going to be plenty of them throughout the season. They're the most common tournament. And normally, at least from what I've seen, you'll have around 10, 12 people. I've only gone to 2 premieres, and they were at the same location, and I don't have too much experience, but I'm gonna say around 10 or 12 people, maybe 8, so 8 to 12 people. And so what you're looking at is, if you place first at these tournaments, you get 30 championship points. Now, if you're a master, that's pretty big. I mean, that's Let's see. If I can think, I would say 1/10, but that's certainly not it. About 1/14 of your way to Worlds, and that may seem like a small number, but if you're going to like all these tournaments throughout, the week and throughout or not the week. Throughout the year, getting 30 is a sizable chunk, you know what I mean? Especially premieres might be sometimes paired with like mid-season showdowns, which we'll get into later, in one day, at least from what I've gone to. So you get first at a premiere, you get a solid 30 championship points. Now, what's interesting to note is that actually last year, I believe premieres were worth 15 points, so they doubled the championship points of premieres. Why I don't know. Maybe it's I can't even think of why they would do that. Maybe to make it easier. Maybe it was like wasn't worth their time. It was too much or too little. Excuse me. But anyways, if you get second at a premiere, you get 16 championship points. 16 might not seem like a lot, but as you will see, I'm going to be talking a lot about accumulating these points over and over, over the course of the season. And I'm actually going to talk right here. Well, as a senior, I want to make a separate video talking about how championship points are sort of easy to accumulate since there's not too many people at tournaments, so you can pretty much place kind of wherever. Like I've been to two mid-season showdown or a mid-season showdown and a premiere on the same day, and not a single other senior showed up. So I instantly got 80 championship points that day. Now I did play well, but it really says that there's not too much competition. But for the Masters, like they have goals. Some of them, they're good VGC players. They're not maybe like well known, but I faced one, and I was like playing really well. I was playing really defensively, making pivots and everything, and the one guy did beat me, and I forget what his name was, but he said by the end of the Sun Series, he wanted 100 championship points, or 120 or 130, so he can kind of go throughout and, get his championship points as he goes throughout the year. So it's really about, like, managing, kind of managing and trying to sneak in points here and there, because if you look at it, 30 is not a lot. 16 certainly is a little bit underwhelming, so like that's not too much. But as let's say you go to these tournaments during the weekend, let's say once every 2 weekends or once every weekend, and let's say you get a consistent like second placing, so you get 16 CP championship points every weekend. That will add up. After 4 weekends, that's 64. Well, I mean, yeah, because it's not a best finish limit because you haven't finished first. So that's still 64 championship points. You know what I mean? Just from going to Premier. So like it adds up. And so third and fourth for the premieres will get 12 championship points. Like I said, 12 doesn't seem like a lot, but it adds up. There's these things called basically like there are these things that like 5th through 8th place will get CP if there's like 20 or like 30 participants, but I don't know if there ever was a mid-season showdown outside of like a regional event that had 30 participants. Anyone, please let me know in the comments if like there actually was an event that had more than 30 people that wasn't like a special event that like was a mid-season showdown, because normally you'd see around that maybe 16 18 people or yeah, a premiere and whatnot. So I mean a premiere. I'm getting myself lost. So they get a sizable chunk of CP, and they're gonna be your most common tournaments. So they're gonna be the ones that you just kind of go out to throughout the season and kind of pick away at it, and be able to get a sizable chunk of your championship points right there. But now comes the sort of bigger tournament here that is a little bit more sizable and respectable. It is the mid-season showdown, or people like to call it the MSS. So they also have a best finish limit of 2 per series. If you do get first at one of these tournaments, you will get a pretty generous 50 championship points. If you get second at one of these tournaments, you get a pretty generous 40 championship points. And if you get third or fourth, you get 32. That's pretty good. I mean, even if you do get third or fourth, that's pretty much if you get 34th at a mid-season showdown, you basically won over a little bit over the amount of CP if you placed first at a premiere. Like mid-season showdowns, they hand out a pretty decent chunk of championship points, and those definitely are the more admirable ones. But they don't happen as frequently, so you have to value the frequency versus the quantity. And okay, like the frequency, like how frequent do they happen, and the quantity being the amount of championship points you earn. But still, they give you quite a bit of championship points. We've actually had a couple players that were able to get their world's invites, or I think locally, that just from playing mid-season showdowns and going to these kind of smaller tournaments. So it's definitely worth your while to go to these tournaments. And actually, a very interesting thing is the premieres and mid-season showdowns that I normally go to are down near DC. I think it's a long drive. Like locals from me are like 2 hours away, which is crazy, but that's what happens when you kind of live really far away from anything significant. But we have some really interesting players. We had really cool players at our tournaments. Like literally, first time I was there, like I was kind of shy because I didn't really know what was going on. I was just kind of there to play, and then I was talking to some people and laughing and whatnot, and all of a sudden, Wolf Glick walks through the door, like 2016 world champion, and people are like, "What's up?" And I'm like, "Wait a second, so he's just a regular here?" And they're like, "Yeah, he's a regular here." I'm like, "Okay." That was insane. And then James Evans, the 2018 Pokemon World Champion for the senior division, walked through, and I'm like, wow, that is insane. And so you just have like top four for the mid-season showdown, or top two, just Wolf Glick and James Evans, two world champions, just battling it out at a local event. And I think that's pretty cool, honestly. I really thought that was all inspiring. And Wolf Glick, I talked to him. He's a really chill guy. He's just like chill. Like one guy brought his Switch, and we were all just playing that, and laughing along, and like doing just some fun stuff. So, anyways, very interesting. But going back to mid-season showdowns, you know, you can place best at 6 of them throughout the whole entire year, but they're a very good way to get championship points. But now we're going to go kind of onto the upper echelons of championship points, and attendance wise, and kind of more value wise, the regionals. Now regionals, they are not that frequent, and at least for me, you might be able to only go to one, two, or three. So you really want to make the best out of these, because you can get a large quantity of your championship points if you do well at these tournaments. Now regionals, I believe they don't have any restriction for how well you can place, but they give a whopping size of championship points. Now it is going to be tough competition, because you're going to have lots of players from states, and from all across the state, and potentially all across America, or I'm not limiting it to America, but all across the country, whatnot. So it's more like broad. So there's gonna be a lot of better players. But if you can do pretty decently, there's definitely rewards to be had. So if you get first place at a regionals, now regionals only have 150 to 200 players. Now that's quite hard to get first place. But if you do manage to do so, that is 200 championship points in your pocket. 200. If you are a master, that is half your qualification right then and there. Now, I feel like maybe they should be valued more heavily since you're a regional champion, but still, half of your qualification just through that's kind of nice. And if you get second, very good. You get a whopping 160 championship points, which is also crazy. And if you get third and fourth place, you get 130. If you get fifth through eighth, you get 100. And if you get 19th or 9th through 60, you get 80 championship points. And if you get 17th through 32, you get 60 championship points. So even if you place top 32, you are still getting a little bit over mid-season showdown. If you were getting more championship points than if you were to win a mid-season showdown. So I believe it's worth it. The only downside is going to these regionals can be expensive because if they're not in your area, because you'll have to book a hotel and the entry fee is a bit high. So there are costs involved, but here's where it starts to get interesting. There's money involved here. So if you get first, normally you'll be getting around $2,000, probably upon attendance. If you get second, you will get $1,000. Third through fourth gets 500, and fifth through eighth normally gets 250. Now those are the most common, I guess, money grabs and people, or if I can speak, those are the most common ways that, or the most common numbers, the most common money amounts given to the players. But still, like, that will definitely help pay for the trip, and it'll give you more money to go to, more regionals. Now, regionals, in my opinion, are something that I don't think it's worth traveling across, like, half across the country for, or whatever, because unless you really have to, because it's going to cost a lot of money to go to these events. But if they're local, you can just go over for the day, like local within 2 hours. You can go over for the day and then just come back home. That's no hotel cost except your monthly, mortgage bill or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a lot. You don't have to pay for food because, well, you do, but it's not going to be as much because you can just go back home, grab a sandwich or whatever, order a pizza. I mean, well, you're still spending money, but you know what I mean. Like, it's not going to be as costly. So I feel like regionals are something that a player should take advantage of, but just kind of understand that when they're a really good idea, when they can really benefit the player rather than kind of hurt the player. But still, an incredible spot, incredible place to go get championship points. It's an all around good time. Many lots of the world's best players will be there, and you can talk to them, and it's just really nice to hang out and whatnot, make friends and whatnot, play games, and it is generally fun. So yeah, the regionals, they will give you tons of championship points. But now we're gonna go on to the online competitions, and so these are online competitions given out by the Pokemon Global Link, or the Pokemon Company, about once every 4 months, once every 3 months, and we probably will have 3 this year, one for each season. And for those players who can't participate on tournaments or just want to test skills or have an online competition rather than just a ladder, this is the tournament for them. Excuse me, I'm tired. And so these tournaments have massive attendance, massive. Like, I think the one in November, the 2019 VGC November Challenge, had 73,000 participants. That is insane. 73,000 participants. Now, granted, not all of those are going to be, dedicated VGC fans. Some of these are going to be Pokemon fans that have a Pokemon account, a Pokemon Global Link account, or a Pokemon, official Pokemon account. Let's say, hey, there's an online competition going on right now. I should enter. It'd be fun. They might have like a Pikachu or some weird Pokemon. But this is going to be a great it's just genuinely fun to play, and it's also nice because it's in your home, so you kind of get that home court advantage. I know that doesn't make much sense, but I feel like you're just more comfortable at home. You can just play, and it's nice. But these, you would think for the amount of attendance at these events, I don't know, players don't pay anything, and it takes time out of the Pokemon Company. I would think they would give more because it's really just the size of a regional, or not a regional, of a mid-season showdown, but the points are a tad bit better. If you get first, you get 50 championship points. Now, I'm not downplaying that because that can still save you and get you qualified for Worlds if you do well enough, but it could be a little bit more. Second gets you 45 championship points. Third through fourth gets you 40 championship points. Fifth through eighth gets you 35. Ninth through 16th gets you 30. And 17th through 32 gets you 25 championship points. Now, okay, one thing I'd like to mention that I probably should have mentioned at the beginning is that I don't think you should genuinely watch this video. I feel like it should be like background noise. I think that's how podcasts are intended to be. Like, if I'm gonna go study, I'd turn on a podcast, I don't know, random podcast, and listen to it while I study or something like that. I feel like they're background noise, so I mean, that's my suggestion. I'll probably say that in the beginning of all my other videos. So I kind of said everything I wanted to on the first page of my notes. So now we're going to go to the second page, and that is going to be covering still the more championship points at the international stage. So internationals are, we have 4 internationals, and they're spaced out like one every 3 months, one every 2.5 months, and these are huge tournaments. These are the second biggest tournament, other than Worlds. So these are going to be giving out insane amounts of championship points if you do well with them. So, and players will be coming from all across the world. I mean, you have like the Sao Brazil. I'm sorry if I butchered that name. Internationals. Or the Latin American internationals. You had players from freaking Australia, Germany, Britain, America, Brazil and whatnot. All these places, players come from all across the world, and so it's going to be a pretty high level competition. So because of that, the championship points, there's going to be a lot more of them for the higher placing. So if you do get first at one of these events, you get 500 championship points, which means you are automatically qualified for Worlds, which is amazing, and you get lots of money. I think it's 3,000 or 4,000 if you. No, I think it's 5,000 if you win one of these. I did not write the money down though. I should have, but I didn't. I'll probably do that. I'll probably mention that sometime later. But anyways, if you get second place, you get 400 championship points. Third through fourth gets you 320. Fifth through eighth gets you 250. Ninth through 16th get you 200, and the 17th through 32 get you 160, and 33 through 64th get you 130. Even 33 through 64th get you 130. 130 championship points is equivalent to getting third through fourth at a Pokemon Regional. Think about that. That's insane. You go to one of these and you play decently. Like, you get a decent win-loss record. Like, you get a positive win-loss record. You're pretty much guaranteed 130 championship points. Now, you're going to be going up against a lot of tougher competition, but if you can stand and hold your ground, you can pull out, or you can, kind of go out of this event with a lot of championship points and a great time. But internationals are going to be those big tournaments that are going to be broadcasted on the Pokemon official channel. The finals will be streamed, and you'll see worldwide players. You'll see players from all across the globe, trying to reach for victory. So actually, I want to say congratulations to Ashton Cox for winning the 2019 Pokemon VGC Latin American Internationals, and follow up James Beck. Congratulations to both of you. Alfredo Chain Gonzalez for the senior division for VGC, and I just forgot his name. Paul Salerno. I'm sorry if I butchered your name, but congratulations. And for the junior division, congratulations to Justin. And I'm so sorry. I really am. Okay, that sounded sarcastic. I really am sorry. I forgot this other kid's name. I think it starts with a K. Could be wrong though. But congratulations to both of our junior division finalists. Anyways, that is going to be, the championship points for each of the tournaments. So obviously you can see, the more, I guess, the higher the competitive, the higher the attendance, the bigger the event, the more it costs, the more value it's going to have. Internationals, you just play decently, and you're pretty much guaranteed a huge chunk of your qualification points. You know what I mean? So I think that's important to note. I think that is very, very important to note. So if we're going to be looking at World's Invite, I already looked at World's Invite. So I kind of want to talk about some of the tournaments coming up. So the Oceanic Internationals is from the the international that's coming up very, very shortly is going to be from the 16th to the 18th of February. And it is going to be held in Sydney? I think it's Sydney, Australia. It is for the Moon Series. And unfortunately, I'm going to be going away. Not away to that event, but I'm going to be on a trip, a a school trip to Quebec. So that'll be really fun. Tell me in the comments below if it's Quebec, because I say Quebec. My dad says Quebec. I don't really know what it is. And if anyone lives in Quebec, tell me how it's pronounced. I really don't know. I think I'm saying Quebec right, but who knows. But that'll be fun. But I'm just going to try to have to catch up on the stream. You know, we'll catch up after I come home. But I'm gonna tune in there and there if I can. Um, but I couldn't go if I really wanted to because it's way too far away. But good luck to everyone who participates in it, and it's sure to be a very interesting competition to give us information on what the Moon Series format is like as of now. If you did not know, I am not a huge fan of the Moon Series format, which is why I'm leaning towards more gimmicky teams in my videos, because I think that makes it interesting, hopefully more, gimmicky, but also somewhat viable teams, so I can make, I guess, have some wins, because I don't know. I feel like, yeah, winning should be entertaining, but winning, not just winning shouldn't be entertaining alone, but I feel like winning is a little bit part of it because it keeps you engaged as an audience. But, yeah, so we have the Oceanic Internationals coming up. We're going to see lots of great players. I'm assuming Alfredo Chen Gonzalez is going to be there. So, who knows? He might claim his second international win of the year, which would be pretty interesting. And I don't know if this is true or not. I found it on a website. It was called Victory Road. I mean, they're pretty accurate with the information as far as I can tell. But the European Internationals are from April 26th through the 28th, and they are held in Berlin, Germany. So please double check this. I tried to double check it, but I only found their source and a couple others. But actually, I did double check it, but triple check it for me because it might be wrong, but I'm pretty positive that it's right. But it is in Berlin, Germany on April 26th through the 28th, and I think it's going to be Ultra Series, but though it could be the Moon Series still. I don't know when the Moon Series ends. I know it's late April, but I don't know how late in April. But also, we have another thing coming up. The February International Challenge, the online competition, is going to be on February 22nd to the 24th. I think registration opens up either the 13th or the 15th. So get signed up and be ready for a very interesting tournament. And I don't know. I don't know if I'll stream that, but it's going to be very, very interesting. So those are the tournaments that are coming up, the internationals and everything that are going to be coming up for you guys. So just stay tuned for future tournaments. I'm really excited, really, really excited to see what happens with these tournaments. I mean, I'm just so excited to see what kind of new teams rise, or we can see what the teams that are good and why they're good rise. I think it's going to be really exciting. I think the final thing I want to get into today's video, give me 1 second. I don't know how long I've been recording, but I don't know if this has been long or not, but I want to go on to regionals, and specifically kind of what regionals are going to be happening this year, because I really want people to be aware of kind of, what regionals are happening when and where. So, actually, the regionals that's coming up really soon is the Collinsville, Illinois regionals, and that's happening February 22nd through the 24th, which is at the same time of the online competition, which I'm very excited to see the stream and see what teams work out, teams rise to the top. But I gotta say, the timing on Pokemon's part, February 22nd through the 24th, while having a competition, the 22nd through the 24th, while also having a international, the 16th through the 18th. You may say, well, that's a lot of content, and that's a lot of things, right? A lot of Pokemon VGC right there, but it's way too cramped. Especially with international, people are going to be, like, all steamed out from that, and then they have to go back home if they want to go to Collinsville, Illinois. They want to go to the Illinois regionals, they're going to have to, like, book it all the way over there, but if they also want to participate in the competition, they might not be able to do that. I mean, they could go home, or they could, like, go in their hotel one night, play 3 matches, and they could get their Shining Tapu Bulu. But what if they also want to participate in the online competition and the regional? That's why I feel like Pokemon needs to kind of reorganize and redo, or just kind of look at, their scheduling a little bit. But anyways, a little bit of a tangent, a little bit of a rant here. Next regionals, I might have them in order. I don't know if this is No, it is. Okay, so I believe we have a Ontario, Canada regionals happening March 9th through the 10th. So keep your eyes peeled for that. We definitely have a Greensboro, North Carolina, regionals on March 16th through the 17th. And we have Denver, Colorado regionals April 16th through the 17th. We have Daytona Beach, Florida regionals happening April 19th through the 21st. This is what I have to say. They are way too close together. March 9th through the 10th, March 16th through the 17th, like close together. April 16th through the 17th, and then Denver, Colorado regionals are April 6th through the 7th. My bad. But Daytona's like literally 12 days after. That doesn't give you lots of time to prepare. And Denver, Colorado and Daytona Beach, Florida, like what if people want to go to both and then they just kind of have to readjust, put money up? Like they're way too close together in my opinion. But anyways, we do have the Hartford, Connecticut regionals happening May 4th to the 5th. Now might be the only regionals out of this entire list that I could go to. That'd be a stretch. So that is a stretch and a half. But it might happen. So I hope to see anyone there. Can't promise it though, because it's a work in progress right now. But anyways, there's Santa Clara, California regionals happening May 18th to the 19th, and the final regional leading up to Worlds is the Madison, Wisconsin regional, and it's happening June 1st through the 2nd. Real quick, I kind of want to wrap this up and talk about tournaments and where they're placed at and how it kind of affects me, because I want to talk about that real quick, and then I kind of want to end it with reasoning why this is the case. If you did not know, I live in the middle of nowhere, really. I live in a very small town. I'm not going to say where, because, it's kind of personal, you know what I mean? That's, information. That's personal information. But I live in a small town, pretty much. Now, there's, you drive 20 minutes, and then you get to a bigger town, but, to go into any Pokemon VGC tournament, it's a lot. It takes a minimum of 2 hours to drive to that tournament, and that drive to that tournament, that's a day event. Even if it's just a premiere, that's 2 hours. We're gonna have to drive in the morning, so I have to wake up a tad bit earlier. I have to get ready. I have to go in the car, drive for 2 hours, get to the tournament, spend 3 hours at the tournament, drive 2 hours back, go home, and it's basically dinner time already. That's my day done. Because I live in an area that, it's not near too many major cities or major areas. So you're not going to have those tournaments. So basically any tournament that I've ever gone to, it's a minimum of 2 hours away. And my parents have a policy for me that any tournament that I go to, being Pokemon VGC, and since this is my first year competing, and I didn't force it upon them. No. I just kind of said, hey, would you mind taking me to this? But they kind of knew, but it's still you're not going to travel across America to go watch your son play video games. I don't think that seems feasible. So they put a policy in place that basically any tournament that's that's over 2 hours and 30 minutes away, I can't go to. So that restricts a lot of things. The only regional I could go to was the Philadelphia regional, and that I was lucky to have gone to that. Because I think we were quite busy that weekend, but I did end up going to that. But that restricts me to a lot of to a small amount of tournaments. There might be only 6 tournaments in the next 3 months for me, and I might be able to only go to 1 or 2, just based upon what we have going on. I do Boy Scouts. I do Boy Scouts. I do the other things. We could camp. We could do this. We could do that. And so it's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff going on. I like I said, could be camping. Doing church service. As a duty as a Boy Scout. Have other stuff going on. Hanging out with friends. There's a baby shower that I have to go to. I don't know. Random things that I have going on. So it's really hard to try to go out to these tournaments. I haven't gone to a tournament in 2 months, simply because I haven't had the time really. So it's kind of crazy because I live in an area where I don't, it's going to take me so long to go to all these tournaments. There is it's a big explanation as why, why this happens. I feel like it's just because population based. If you look at my town compared to like popular city like Washington D.C. or like Ohio or Columbus, Ohio, you're going to see a huge increase, a spike in the amount of Pokemon VGC players in those areas compared to where I live. I'm pretty sure I'm the only VGC player within like 100 miles or within that your big area. So it really limits you because of the population, because that there's not too many VGC players there. That's why I actually talked to a kid at a mid-season showdown. He is Irish. He's from Ireland. He was visiting over from Ireland. His mom was doing, I think, his mom was doing like internship in America, and so basically his whole family visited here. And he said that basically this was his only chance to go to these tournaments and get championship points because at home in Ireland they had like one tournament per month, and because Ireland doesn't have too many VGC players, and that tournament organizer that put the events together quit, so they didn't have a tournament organizer, so they couldn't get championship points because there wasn't any tournaments there. So I feel like in some places it's even worse because you're kind of screwed because Ireland, like, you can travel. Some people like travel for hours just to get to a tournament in like maybe Dublin or something, but you know it's crazy. So I guess it just depends on where you live. But that's really what I kind of wanted to talk about in today's episode. I wanted to talk about the championship points. You know what does each tournament give? How do they incorporate into being qualified for Worlds? Should you go about to those tournaments? What are going to be some of the tournaments and their prize amounts? What are some of the upcoming tournaments? And kind of talking about my experiences with it. This has been a really really long video. Holy crap! I don't know exactly how long. I do have to end the video off here. So if you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to smash that like button down below. And if you really enjoyed it, click that subscribe button. And I would also like to know some of your comments, on this video, some of your just overall thoughts of the video and of the whole podcast series. It'd really be appreciated. But anyways, guys, I'm Everglade Galid, and I will see you guys later. Peace.